Every now and then, I fall apart. Hi there everyone, Coach Sage Kande here of VO2 Max Productions here with the first episode of bringing back my left glute, my left butt muscle that is. As Butters would say, what in the butt? Alright, so gluteus maximus, we're talking about the butt muscles. Gluteus maximus is the main one. There's actually a bunch of butt muscles, minimus, medius, piriformis, more, and they work as hip extenders, right? Extension. We're talking about hip extension, that back kick. Well, not so much the back kick, but when you're absorbing your impact on one foot, right? You're stabilizing your pelvis, but also moving your foot backwards as you're running on impact. And if we look at Sam Webster, he's got a great YouTube channel, link to his channel in the description below. I learned a lot from anatomy from him. I believe he's a professor and avid ultra runner. If we look at the anatomy, the science behind how these different muscles work, we see that the glutes are very important. They're very important for running especially, right? Walking, we don't use them quite so much, right? We don't have as much of a power stride. But if we're running fast, if we're sprinting, if we're jumping, they're very important. They're very important in driving that hip into full extension back. And, you know, the hamstrings engage there as well. But the glute muscles, very, very important. They're your turbocharger, the power that you get in your stride. And it's come to my attention that over the years, for a variety of reasons, more on this later in future episodes, my left butt cheek is a bit atrophied. And it's a bit weaker on that side. And it's caused a little back pain, some inefficiencies in my stride that I've seen in the running form analysis. And yeah, we want to fix that. We need to address that with some special exercises. So what are these special exercises, you may ask? Well, I looked into a little bit of science. There's some studies showing muscle activation. We're going for maximum bang for your buck, booty building, glute activation, different exercises. I mean, if you do variations of squats, you do hex bar deadlifts, you do lunges, all these things engage the glutes to some degree, right? Bridges, other poses maybe on the ground, and definitely check out Sandy's channel. Sandy has a great video on activation and pre-run routines where maybe you have to regain mobility first to turn on the correct muscle groups. With me, opposing muscles on the front side of the hip, for example, rectus femoris, you know, I have tight hip flexors. It's harder to engage the glutes because it torques on your pelvis basically. So sometimes you need to get mobility and stretch and flexibility first before you could tap into that activation. And doing a bridge pose, the traditional on the ground static poses have been a bit of a challenge for me. So I'm trying to get into more dynamic. But we look at the studies, look at this scientific study here. It says the single best exercise you could do for maximum glute max, that's the main butt muscle in the back, activation is actually step-ups. Hex bar deadlifts are also up there, but the form is very important. And for me, isolating a single leg is also very important, one leg at a time, right? You don't necessarily get that with squats, especially if you're trying to do a bunch of weight, and you don't want too much quadricep engagement. I've kind of overworked my quads. More on that later in future episodes also. So we look into the science. Check out Sandy's video again on the activation and mobility and kind of the theory and idea behind getting that flexibility and mobility back to turn on the correct muscle groups at the correct time and how you could integrate that into your training day. With all that being said, in today's episode, since we're not in the gym, we don't have access to the gym, it's the COVID era, trying to stay safe out there, don't have a ton of space. This is our main studio room. It's the only room because it's a studio apartment. It's not a gym. I don't even have like a table to do any chiropractic stuff on or any special like jumping blocks or anything like that. However, what we do have is a wooden bench that I made outside on our balcony, which I can't use out on our balcony because the roof overhang I'd hit my head on doing a step up. So I'm gonna bring that bench in to this space here and hopefully do some step up exercises and get some glute activation going, trying to do it with correct form. And this is just a first step in the series again, building up that strength in the glutes, the butt muscles by doing things like step-ups and lunges, we'll do hex bar deadlifts, but there's tons of other exercises. And part of this journey is regaining mobility or flexibility because we have really tight hip flexors or we have muscle imbalances caused by a variety of reasons. And hint on future episodes in that, look at my face, It's not perfectly symmetrical, right? my left side and jawbone juts out. Well, surprise, my whole body's not very symmetrical at all, right? Some of you may be more lucky. You may be more like a perfect model, symmetrical on each side. But, you know, despite me running more like T1000 over the years, I am actually very lopsided. And that's come back a bit to kind of haunt me. And that's why we're trying to correct those imbalances and address them. All right, who needs a gym when you got a sturdy wooden bench that you built yourself in your studio apartment living room? Seems pretty sturdy. So step up, we're gonna be doing, getting the knee at about 90-degree angle there. And the glute activation comes really from the forward motion, right? I'm doing this diagonally just to show you, but ooh, it's not as stable as I thought. Maybe I didn't make the bench very level. Right? You're going to be engaging your quad a bit too on the top of your leg. That's just part of bending the knee basically, and the hamstrings as well. But the idea is if you drive down through the heel and you're driving forward with hip extension, you're engaging that butt muscle. So my left glute here on the step up. I'm also stretching the right leg a bit because it's high enough that my knee is actually bent almost at about a 90-degree angle from my torso. I'm trying to stay upright with a slight forward lean, like if I was running. Then the variation we could do is at the top, you could flex your glute a bit and do a high knee march with the foot coming forward. You could also extend it behind you and try to tighten this butt cheek in extension as well. You got to forward lean into it, engaging the cap maybe as you lean forward also. And of course, to make it harder, you do a lot of reps, but the other variation would be to adding some weights. These are only 8-pound hand weights, but since I'm a noob, I kind of need that. So, you know, stepping up, back down. Trying to contract the ab muscles, the stomach muscles, the torso as we step up and power up too. So you kind of like hold your breath, engage that core, and drive through it. All right. I have to add some more weight. All right, so that's the first episode of getting my left glute back. Stay tuned for more in this little mini series on here. Again, thank you so much to all the Patreon supporters really making this channel possible. New audio setup here. Hopefully that improves the sound quality. We'll be outside filming, especially when the weather gets better. It's really windy outside today, but this is the home gym, so you got to make do with the resources and time that you have, especially in challenging times like the COVID era. But hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying healthy. Be sure to subscribe on here. Again, check out those links to Sandy's channel as well as our coaching website. We sell training plans at sagerunning.com for any service, any distance. Thank you to title sponsor Hoka One One, keeping the dream alive. Hope you're doing well. Stay tuned for more VO2 Max Productions.